We live in a twilight world. Yeah, man, let's do another video. I don't know whether it's going to be quick or long. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be very slow-paced, I think, because I've queued up a lot of slides and images in this one. So, yeah, it might be a long one. And by the way, I've got a coffee. So if you hear me slurping and burping, that's why. Also, I'm also in a, my studio is my car, as you all know. And I'm parked in a very, very busy car park. So excuse the background noise. You never know. You got the boy racers that turn up. You got youths finishing football practice over there. They'll be coming past in a minute. But anyway, yeah. Enough said. So, yeah, man, today I want to talk about Star Wars and the new series that's out on wherever. I think it's Disney, right? It's a Disney thing now, called Ahsoka. Now, just a disclaimer, I have not watched this series. I've not watched really any of these series. I mean, I don't love Star Wars. I don't hate Star Wars. I think I'm kind of in the middle with Star Wars. I don't mind it. Weirdly enough, I never really liked the originals, but them kind of, the ones that came later on, the prequels, that were all green screen that everyone hated, I thought they were okay, man. They came out when I was about 16, and I remember just taking myself to the cinema to watch all of them. I thought they were pretty good. This current series, I mean, people are slagging it off left, right, and centre. Some people are slagging it off. They're saying that, she's just a terrible actor. And, they're saying it's quite woke. I.e. all the good guys are, ethnic minorities, all the bad guys are, of course, white people, and so on and so on. But anyway, I don't, like I said, I haven't watched it. I don't really care about that shit. But what I have come across is a lot of videos over the last 2 weeks. They're flooding my YouTube feed. And it's kind of like, review videos, like where someone reviews episode 6 in 5 minutes and all that kind of stuff, right? Breakdown of episode 6 and all that kind of shit. And what can I say, man? I mean, I've been binge watching a few of them, and there's quite a lot of what we call revelation. And, they're doing that whole thing of their hiding truth within fiction. And even, I guess, Star Wars comes under science fiction, perhaps, because it's set in, in space. And well, we assume it's the future. I don't really specify what year it is. But, it's, it comes under sci-fi, I guess. But also, man, there's a lot of, synchronicities and the stuff I've been banging on about for the last 2 years now are being, visibly shown in this here TV show. So I don't know, man. I probably won't. But there's a small chance I might, for a month, get Disney Plus just to watch this show, man, because there's a lot. From what I can gather, there's a lot in there, man. There's a lot of things that I find interesting. I'm pretty sure you will find it interesting. And let's get into that, man. Let's look at it straight away, yeah. So okay, all right. You all know me, right? Les Luthor and my whole concept of illusion warfare, right? And my little symbol I made. Okay, there's the double cross system. Yep, that's people understand the double cross system. It's pretty much the system they're using to control everyone. Here are the masses, like puppets, getting played by the double cross system. Whether that's, black versus white, gay versus straight, Republican versus Democrat, flat earther versus round earther, truther versus normie, germ theory versus terrain theory, whatever, right? The double cross system will give you chicken feed. And they don't give a fuck about being right or wrong. They just want you to they want you to believe and feel steadfast in whatever crusade you're on, going up against your opponent who equally be given chicken feed and, somewhat true but useless information to back up their pointless crusade. Here's the hidden hand. I'm pretty sure we're all on board. Anyone who's a conspiratorial mindset understands there's a hidden hand pulling the strings, all right? Here's the black cube. Yet again, we talk about a black cube more of as a symbol, right? an energy force, Kronos, or potentially a literal giant supercomputer underneath the city of London that's predicting the future or manifesting the future, right? Which is feeding the hidden hand, giving it the, the probabilities, the mathematical chances to a 99.9% accuracy rate that it can pull it off. That they know if they do a certain thing on a certain day at a certain hour at a certain frequency, it will work towards 99% accuracy, right? We could also say it's Kronos, the actual Greek mythological god, chained up in Tartarus, right? Greek mythology. We could say this is your smartphone, right? Your TV, your laptop, right? The black mirror, the black cube. You get what I'm saying? Yet again, people are on board with that. But by far, what people struggle with, what I'm suggesting, where I lose a lot of folks, is the woo-woo side of it, what I call the ghost army or the ghost legion, whatever. We'll get to the naming of it in a minute, but the idea that the hidden hand has a load of foot soldiers that are a non-human entity, something that would be similar to like a jinn, plasma beings, I don't know, whatever you want to call them, but they're the ones that can run in and do stuff, right? And they have ghost ships, what we would consider UFOs, right? When I talk about that stuff, people are a bit like, nah, I can tell people roll their eyes, because this is the part that's kind of like very out there. Whereas this hidden hand, double cross system, puppeteering the masses, the black cube, that's pretty hard to deny. But yeah, man, the Ghost Legion is the one I struggle with. And, how do I prove that there's an army of ghosts that are going around pulling off things like 9/11 and hoaxing wars in Ukraine and stuff? I can't really do it. But anyway, we've got a new name to add to that thanks to Star Wars, right? The Night Troopers. And we'll get to that in a minute, right? But, within a lot of fiction, the Ghost Legion is represented, right? So in like the Batman world, the universe of Batman and the DC comics, they're called the League of Shadows, right? Ra's al Ghul and the gang. If you watch the Christopher Nolan version of Batman, like Batman Begins and whatnot, you'll see the League of Shadows and what they're about, Basically, when a civilization reaches like the peak of its decadence, these guys come in, hidden hand style, and just burn it to the ground. And yeah, man, Batman Begins, that's revealed. And then in Game of Thrones, we had the Faceless Men. Like they were kind of like a mysterious kind of group of assassins that had the ability to change their appearance and basically wear other people's faces. They came from a house called the House of Black and White. They were very much into the understanding of light and shadow and the place in between. They worshipped the many-faced God. And yeah, man, these guys were like assassins, and they were kind of like, stepping in and taking out certain leaders and interfering and manipulating with the world, right? You could actually hire them to do stuff, but they're also working on their own accord and, yeah, man, like taking out certain kings and queens and all that kind of business. So yeah, that's the Game of Thrones version. Lord of the Rings, you had the Army of the Undead, which I think was in the third film, where Aragorn went into this kind of like cave inside of a mountain, and he basically had a fight with like the king of these. They were essentially spirits. They were ghosts, and he won a little fight. And the next thing you know, this ghost army, this army of the undead, maybe they were called the Army of the Dead, I don't know, but they helped him there, and they were essentially ghosts, spirits that could actually, do things here in our physical world. In Warhammer, which I'm not an expert on, I'm actually only starting to like really look into Warhammer. There's the 20th Legion, the XX Legion, and they're also nicknamed as the Ghost Legion because the way they operate, man, they're very much like like MI5, right, or MI6. You know, they're very shady and secretive. They're all about espionage and all that kind of stuff, man. Because in Warhammer, and yet again, forgive me if I'm getting this wrong, right? Because I'm not an expert on these kind of things. But in Warhammer, I believe there's 20 legions altogether, and the 20th legion, and they've all got kind of like different attributes. Like one are good at, you know, one are really good at like using swords. The other guys are, you know, good at using guns. One group is a bit like Viking-esque, like one group is like Mongol horde type. You know, they've all got attributes. And the 20th legion, yeah, man, they're very shady, and you don't know what side they're on, whether they're good guys or bad guys. And yeah, man, so the Ghost Legion. But anyway, in this new series, Ahsoka, Star Wars, we got the Night Troopers. And basically what a lot of people are speculating online is that these are undead, or shall we say dead, stormtroopers being brought back to life by dark magic. I mean, this guy appears to be like the head one of them, and he's called Enoch, Captain Enoch. Obviously, Enoch being a reference, a biblical reference, you know, character in the Bible, the Book of Enoch and whatnot. And yeah, man, they've all got this kind of scarlet ribbon around them. Now, again, I haven't watched the show. I don't know for sure. I think people are only speculating, but I think the general kind of theory amongst all of the Star Wars fans is that, yeah, man, these are dead stormtroopers that have been resurrected, and this here scarlet material is from the witches are basically holding them together. So this guy probably got his arm blown off, and this here magic scarlet material is holding his arm back on, or something along those lines. Okay, yeah, again, you know, this color scarlet in regards to dark magic. Yeah, again, the people behind this have done their homework, it would appear. Let's watch a quick video. Yep. Gold mask, that's very kind of Greco gladiator, right? Here's a ship, a ghost ship, full of night troopers. Army of the Dead, right? You see all this red ribbons on them. And here we have what they call the Night Sisters. Witches that use dark magic, it would seem. Okay. And there they are, man. These here three witches, I think they're called the Great Mothers. And their other name is the Night Sisters. And yet again, this red, man, this is it scarlet red? Is that crimson red? I don't really know. But it's, you know, it's a very powerful color, right? And you see it a lot, man. Like, yeah, again, we go back to Game of Thrones. If you remember that, there was that kind of I think she was called the Lady in Red. And she was this kind of witchy character that could, yeah, again, she could resurrect people. She was the one that could touch your sword and make it turn into flames. And then when your sword was like had that flame on it, you could kind of like fight the paranormal kind of creatures that normal weapons wouldn't work against. And yeah, they all seem to have like this these little ball things they use to see into the future and whatnot, which is very kind of similar to is it the Sisters of Bay in Greek mythology? You know, there was these three kind of similar to these characters, three kind of witchy kind of sisters that had no eyes, and they all shared one eyeball. And yeah, I think they could see into the future as well. Now, what do we have here? This is obviously where they do their magic. If you've been following my content lately, I've been talking a lot about magic circles, right? More so metaphorically, the magic circle regarding, you know, truthers and normies being tricked via illusion warfare into essentially making a metaphorical magic circle and chanting around it. But here we have, man, like a magic circle. And they got kind of monoliths here. You know, stone circles. I mean, I don't know, man. This is guys. This is Star Wars we're talking about. Star Wars have gone, pagan, which I think might not be a bad thing. I don't know where you guys stand on paganism. Obviously, like what we know about our ancient pagan roots have been obviously very clouded by Christian, Roman kind of propaganda, right? A lot of the Christian, Roman propaganda has portrayed our Roman ancestors as animals that, human sacrifice and all that kind of thing, which of course we know the Christians and Romans did a lot of, actually, really. They're just kind of projecting. But anyway, we won't get into that today. Here they are again. Now, here they are using their magic to kind of like locate people, yeah? And now look at these red lasers, or whatever they are. It's kind of energy, spirit energy, right? Now, I don't know the backstory behind this picture. I just took a screenshot off the internet. But you can clearly see they're using their powers to kind of look for something or locate something, right? And, if you remember, about a month ago, the poster I did for the latest Double Cross podcast I did with Emily Moyer, I did, we're talking about direct energy weapons. I was basically putting a point across that, the direct energy weapon is not an actual laser beam from space. It's, collective focused human attention, i.e. getting the masses to focus their whole energy and attention on a subject, right? And here, look, I put these red laser beams in to highlight the direct energy weapon. I got the masses here standing in a magic circle, and then I put the magic circle above it, and that was, and then this show comes out, and it's pretty much the same damn thing. Am I manifesting this show? Is AI just kind of like copying my content? Is it just is this idea being sent out to all of us? Like, are we all getting these ideas put into our heads at the same time? I don't know. But obviously, for me, that's obviously very synchronistic, right? Because, yeah, man, this is my poster. I made this poster. And these obviously represents, like, the hidden hand, right? The ghost hand. Regarding the fires in Maui. I don't know, man. I just find it very interesting. But anyway, oh yeah. Here's a classic picture you'll see online of the magic circle, right? A kind of like these kind of like demon-y type beings and humans dancing around the magic circle, right? And that's the magic circle I used in my poster. Yeah, again, generic one I found off the internet. I don't know if it actually means anything. And Night Sisters again. So yeah, watching all these videos, a lot of people are pointing out that this new Star Wars show has a lot of kind of Norse mythology in it, right? The two, so they're we don't know whether they're bad guys or not yet, but the kind of like opposition team, they both, like, one rides a white wolf, the other rides a black wolf, and of course in Norse mythology they have the two wolves, one chasing the sun across the sky, the other one chasing the moon across the sky. I think they're called Scroll and Hardy or Haiti. To be fair, I've got a lot of people from the Scandinavian part of the world listen, so maybe they can put in the comments the correct names. But yeah, so one chases the sun, one chases the moon, and I think the point is that he's chasing the real light. Hattie over here is only chasing the reflection of the light. So I don't know, man. Yet again, it needs further investigation. Because by far, like, the wolf is my favourite animal. I love the you know, like spirit animal wise, I love what the wolf represents and stands for, right? And I may have told you this story before, but, you know, 2022, that was the big year for me. I had a wolf supermoon on my birthday at the beginning of the year. And I remember when I got to work at about 5 a.m, I stepped out my car and I saw this gigantic supermoon, which is called a wolf supermoon. And it was on my birthday. Now, I don't usually celebrate birthdays, right? I don't really care for birthdays. I think celebrating birthdays is a bad thing. But I knew because I had to write down dates and stuff, you know, as you do in life. I knew it was my birthday. And to me, it was a sign. And fucking hell, 2022 was, well, what a hell of a year for me it was. What a hell of a year it was for me indeed. Now, another thing that's coming up in the Star Wars show is a place called the World Between Worlds. That's right, guys. In Star Wars, there's now a space. It's kind of like a dream kind of space where you can go, and there's a little bit of time travel involved in it, right? Called the World Between Worlds. And these kind of three entities are the ones that kind of look after this place. I hope I'm getting this right. Forgive me if I'm not. But it's essentially, you know, the father, the mother, and the child. In numerology, that'd be 1, the father, 2, the mother, 3, the child. 4 would be the house, 5 would be the garden, and so on, depending on what part of numerology you're looking at. And yeah, man, like, so you can go into this kind of dream world, which is called the World Between Worlds, and you can kind of like speak to dead ones, speak to your ancestors, and from what I can gather, you can do a bit of time travel. You can essentially kind of like manipulate timelines a little bit. Yeah, again, which I find kind of fascinating, yeah? So a little side note, there's apparently, yeah, again, I'm not really a Star Wars fan, I don't know, I've never read this book, but apparently there's a good kind of like Star Wars kind of like spin-off storyline about the Death Troopers, and apparently like, yeah, it's pretty much like a zombie kind of energy force takes over all of these stormtroopers, and you know, yeah, again, sounds pretty good, right? We all know, you know, regarding the last 3 years about dark energy forces taking over the masses, right, and making them behave like zombies. Very on the nose, I feel. And here they are loading up their ship with a load of these caskets, which obviously contain some sort of, you know, dead body, half dead body, we don't know. Apparently under the mountain that these witches live on, they've got catacombs. And catacombs, if you don't know, are underground, you know, burial sites, right? I tried to go to the catacombs when I was in Paris, but you had to book like 4 days in advance, man. It was crazy, like. I wanted to go into the catacombs in Paris because I wanted to see if it felt real or not, or whether they were just going to prop skulls and bones in there. So yeah, man, I might have to go back to Paris just to go to the catacombs. Night Sisters again. Oh yeah, here's them witches from Greek mythology I was talking about, right? They're blind and they share the eyeball. So here's another video. And essentially, these witches are animating kind of like these shells, right? With this kind of green kind of like misty kind of, well, their magic is kind of like shown as green kind of mist, like plasma beings. And as you see, she's just slashed it in half, this guy. And then you'll see the spirit will leave his body. And there we have it. Because make no bones about it, guys, I'm pretty on board with the idea of plasma beings, jinns, and that they can reanimate the dead. And I'm pretty on board with the fact that they can, you know, 3D print a human body indistinguishable from a real human body, veins, nerves, arteries, muscles that can contract, eyeballs that can see. They can 3D print all of that. And I believe they can animate them as well. How long they can animate them for, I don't know. But I think this is the kind of like missing woo-woo that people don't want to talk about. And like I said, man, I lose a lot of... People just roll their eyeballs when I talk about this shit, man, because they think it's just too far out there. And there they are, look at that. Triangulating. The world between worlds. All that stuff, man, it's all here in Star Wars. You know, it might be worth a watch. I'm just going to watch this video one more time. Apparently this ship here is a ship that got destroyed, and they've kind of, yet again, they've resurrected this ship. I do believe the Hidden Hand has what we call ghost ships. What we would think are UFOs, right? Ships that are... They would just look alien to us, man. Like, to us, people that have only known things like, you know, passenger 747s and stuff. We would look up and we think, oh shit, that's aliens. But no, it's the Hidden Hand. They've got ships, man. And they're invisible, I think. And here, apparently in episode 6 was the world between worlds. Apparently, you know, apparently the main character fell off a cliff, became unconscious, and she woke up in this place here. Like a sort of dream world. A world between worlds, right? Not quite death, not quite life, the space in between. Now, and here, you know, you see all these strings, right? All these threads. These are paths you can take on your timeline. And she meets her old master, who is dead now. And they essentially have a conversation. And he acts like a spirit guide, you know. He takes her on a journey and teaches her a few lessons about how... Just lessons about what she's getting wrong and how she has to approach the future events, right? Because this, you know, her ex-teacher, her ex-master who's dead, you know, he's in the world of death, man. He's transversing past, future, and present all at the same time, man. And he's come back as a spirit guide to teach his former apprentice, you know. Anyway, I think I've spoken enough now. I don't know how long this recording's been on for, but hopefully you found it enjoyable. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Any other thing you want to add in there that I might have missed? Yeah, man, throw it in the comments. That's it, really. I've been busy the last couple of weeks. I've kind of half moved to a new area. I still got my old place. I haven't actually officially left yet. I'm in a new place. I'm not obligated to stay. I'm very much in a world between worlds myself at the moment. So yeah, man, that's why I've been quite quiet. I'm also, you know, the reason I'm quiet is because I don't believe you should constantly be uploading anything. Definitely not pictures of yourself, and definitely not your voice up to the black cube, because you're giving away yourself to the black cube freely. So that's why I keep videos to a minimum these days. Yeah, man. Where I was living before was kind of, the house itself was kind of crap. It wasn't too far away from, like, you know, the house in Fight Club. This rundown old shitty care home where I had to share a toilet, I had to share a fucking kitchen. You know, some of the people in there are quite trampy. You know, but it was real cheap, yeah. Obviously, this is what comes with cheap living. But what was good about that location, it was right in the middle of the southwest. So I could pretty much get to anywhere, yeah. Plymouth, Bristol. You know, getting to Birmingham wasn't hard. So, you know, I could get to Birmingham Airport really quickly, which meant doing my illusion warfare reports were easier, because I could just, you know, get to an airport within 2 hours. you know, a budget, airports that had budget airlines running from them. Where with this new place, it's a lot further away, right? But it has the bonus of it's a better building, got my own kitchen, got my own toilet. The luxuries are there, but the place itself is kind of crap. So I don't know, it's one of them yin and yang things, isn't it? Like I'm losing a lot of benefits I had in my old place, but I'm gaining some new benefits, and it's all kind of swapping around. So yeah, man, that's where I've been. I hope you're all doing very well. I hope you're, you know, out living life, getting some real sunshine, some real connections with other flames out there. Yeah, man, we live in a twilight world. There are no friends at dusk.